the link first. Okay. All right. I think we should be live, but let me double check on my Facebook, and then I'm going to share this link out. Just give me a moment, All right. Okay. So we are live in actually LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube.
Okay.
Okay. Very quick one. All right. Just give me just another 1 minute, and because sometimes okay in Facebook, okay actually not just Facebook live streaming it will like take 10 seconds. There's a 10 seconds delay. 10 seconds delay.
Oh, from the time we talk to the stream appearing.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
sure.
can. All right. Just one more thing I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna ask you question. All right. Okay. 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 Great. Right. So thank you so much, bro, for taking up your time for this short interview. All right. And my channel is really about all the entrepreneurs and those who are really um, going out, right, creating values, really helping businesses and people as a whole. Yeah. So whoever that's online right now, whether you are in LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, right, do join us. Okay, as a at the time, uh, at a time. Okay, wait, my English not so good. A
At
time
this,
of a time of learning. Okay, learning from you. Yeah. So today we have Gin, right?
Jin.
But you have a Jin. Okay, you have a name that most people will know, which is Glue. Am I right?
I hope
Yes.
so.
And I tell you, I'm very impressed, okay, because I only realized when I do some research on your profile that you're a lawyer. Oh my gosh, really? So you're a trained lawyer in US. Am I right?
Yes. So I studied law and I graduated 1992, 1993. So I practiced for a number of years, about 4 years. Then I went to lecture law about 3 years at the poly. Um, then at the age of 31, I joined the Straits Times as a tech journalist. So I spent about 15 years doing that. Then 6 years ago, I left to start my own PR agency.
So from being a lawyer, right? I mean, to a tech, that's already a change. What
Mm.
actually like propel you to do this or cause you to make this decision to change,
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. So actually, when I was doing my A levels, I did triple science lah. In those days, everybody wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer, right?
Correct.
And then I remember during the bio lab, I had to cut the rat lah. When I cut the rat, I knew that I didn't want to do this lah. Anyway, my
So you don't want
grades
to
were
be a doctor?
don't want to be a doctor. Also, my grades were not good enough. Okay,
Hmm.
so I really had two big interests at the time when I was 17, right? How old lah? A level 17 lah. I had two big interests lah. One was actually computer science, and the other one actually was history. So I love history, right? But although I came on a science stream, so in the end, I put law as first choice, com science second choice, and arts bracket history as third choice lah. Fortunately or unfortunately, I got my first choice, and that's how I ended up doing law.
Okay. So it's unfortunate or fortunate actually. A lot of people want to get into law, at that time. I believe, right?
Uh, yeah, I think it's fortunate. I think the practice of law, the learning of law, teaches us not so much about the basic principles of law, but
Hmm.
how to focus your mind on issues, right? I mean, the
Hmm.
study of law itself, they got many complicated things, right? And even if you practice as a lawyer, you actually need to focus on what is the issue that is in dispute, and don't be distracted with other things. So that training that comes helps me to analyze things better, lah, which actually was a big asset when I became a reporter, right? You got to analyze situations and then think of story angles, and in a way, also helps my current work doing PR, right? So I was always interested in computer science. Your question was how come from law to com science, right? Yeah. I have a lot of journalism. So actually in law school, I didn't study much. I was playing video games every day.
Okay.
and and after 4 years of law and 3 years of lecturing, I thought, I really should pursue my real interest, which I think is we call it tech lah, but actually it's video games, right? Yeah, video games and tech. And when the opportunity came to join Straits Times as a tech journalist, I kind of jumped at it lah. I actually didn't know what it was lah. All I knew was it sounds like I can play video games, so okay, let's do it.
So okay, yeah, I mean it's very interesting. It's very very interesting because you actually went into tech journalist, journaling. Okay, and okay, is that something that you okay? How do you jump into it in the first place? Did somebody invited you, or you wanted to get into it because you have
Mm,
been eyeing on it?
no, actually no. I had no. I didn't even think of doing journalism at all. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What happened was I wanted to get into a technology company, maybe like Creative or Microsoft, and practice law as an in-house lawyer. Unfortunately, I spent my years as a lawyer doing what I call common man litigation. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I help a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people on the street with divorce claims, petty crimes, workshop claim, make will, all the kind of thing that affects men on the street, right? And when I wanted to move to do corporate law for tech companies, I mean, they all rejected me because I had no prior experience, right, in
Mm-hmm.
corporate
Okay.
law. Yeah, and then what happened was I saw the advertisement in the newspaper, and they were looking for. I don't know whether you remember this. There used to be a publication called Project Eyeball. Okay, it was a new publication by SPH. It died now.
Okay.
Okay, shortly after it started. So and they were looking for a tech journalist. So I thought, hey, that sounds cool. No, I think I can write quite well, right? And it's tech. That sounds interesting. So I just applied. And then when I applied, they actually told me that actually I'm too old. I was 31 at the time. They were really
Okay.
looking for really young people, right? But they said that, you know what, the Straits Times is opening up its technology and science department. Do you want to join? I said, okay, let's join. And actually, that's how I landed up in journalism. Yeah.
So at that time, did you get a pay cut or not?
Actually,
Okay.
no. The poly
Oh
paid
no.
so badly that I actually got a pay
Oh.
increase. Yeah, I, I took a pay cut from being a lawyer to join the poly, out of idealism
Oh.
and the foolishness of youth. Right. So, so, so the jump from poly uh, to Straits Times was a no-brainer, lah. Right? Because
Mm.
even Straits Times paid better. Okay. Yeah. And Straits Times did
Okay.
pay quite well in those days, lah. To be honest. Yeah, they're
Okay.
very.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you fast forward, wow, and then you became the tag, and then you became the lead edit. Do you call it co-editor or
I was
lead?
the tech editor. I was the tech
Mm-hmm.
editor of the Straits Times. I
Mm-hmm.
also used to be the editor of Digital Life. And that's how we met, right?
Frankly, I do not know who is behind the scene at that point. I really
Oh,
don't know.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually,
So
when I left in 2015, I was the tech editor of the Straits Times, and also I was the Digital Life editor, lah. Yeah.
so that time Digital Life was like running for 17 years before before that was Computer Times.
Yeah.
Were you there at Computer Times?
No, no. I only joined in. Okay, so I joined Straits Times. When I joined Straits Times, I went into the
Mm-hmm.
news department. Then I
Mm-hmm.
left for a number of years and I came back in 2007. When I came back in 2007, I joined what was then Digital Life. So I knew the people at Computer Times, but I never actually worked for Computer Times. Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
the people are the same, right? I suppose from Computer
Same,
Times.
same. I mean, like Alfred, Tian Hao, all these
Okay.
guys, right? Yeah, yeah. In those days,
Yeah, those were the days, really, really. Yeah, and you're
yeah.
really big on games, really, really big on games.
At that time, lah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you see, what I'm very impressed is you took on this current role, all right,
Mm,
as a managing business owner of Glue PR agency, which is something that we have found, right?
yeah,
By
yeah.
giving up this huge, I would say that, I mean, at that time, it's like an editor to me is someone who is very influential. You call the shot, whatever that's in the news, you decide where to put what, all right?
Mm.
What really, like, is it something within you that you really want to come out, of that? I mean, I believe it's supposed to be very comfortable already.
Mm.
Correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So comfortable, why would you want to come out and become like build your own stuff? And we all know the stress being an entrepreneur and
yeah,
all
yeah,
the thing that we need to go through. Yeah. So
yeah.
what is that thing within you that I want
So,
to.
so the thing about me, the truth about me is, I'm a very unstructured person. I never plan my life. Uh, some people are very good in planning, right? They do this, and then 3 years later, they aim for this. When I was younger, whenever I went for a job interview, and whenever the interviewer asked me, like, how do you see yourself 5 years from now? I would look at the guy blankly. I'm like, actually, I don't know. So I'm a very instinctive person, right? I go by instinct. Yeah. Actually, when you are right, lah, when I was at the Straits Times in 2015, I was kind of the most, I would say one of the most influential, if not the most influential tech reporter in Singapore at the time. Because at the time, Digital Life was very influential, right? And Straits Times then was a lot more powerful than it is today, lah, right? And I thought about it for a long time because as a journalist, we are quite lucky, right? We are always the buyer. The PR folks are always trying to sell us stories, okay, and then we can get to try the latest stuff. It was really fantastic being a journalist, right? You get access to people that you wouldn't normally talk to. I interviewed Michael Dell, right? Why would Michael Dell want to talk to me, right? I talked to like Sim Wong Hu, all these guys. So I really, really love what journalism did for me. It gave me the opportunity to broaden my horizons, meet so many people and really understand so much more about the world. It was a difficult decision for me, to be very honest. And first thing, of course, was money, right? I was paid a decent salary. It was not a lot, okay, but it is still decent, right? Um, and it means that with you all this, okay, and literally you start from bottom lah, right? Maybe I might fail and I might make nothing. Yeah, but there were a few factors that pushed me there, right? I think that one of the factors was that Digital Life was closing and it was going to be merged into the broadsheet, right? And I think because of the challenges that the newspaper face, it is challenging, right? Internet digital marketing is destroying its business. I knew then that there will never be an opportunity to really push Digital Life as a separate product, but it will be really just part of the paper lah. And because I didn't really have any ambitions to become like anything more than a tech editor. I didn't want to go and do other things, right? I just wanted to do my tech. So that was the first motivation lah. Second motivation was I felt that the PR industry, because I was a journalist so many years, PR people always pitch stuff to me. I always feel that the PR agencies, most of them don't really focus on the person, right? They 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 want to talk to you because they need you to write articles for them, right? I did form some friends, right, over the 15 years. But I would say about 80-90% of PR people that talk to you, they really not interested in you. And yet, the business of PR actually is the business of people and the business of relationships. Okay. The second thing I noticed was there are a lot of people pitching tech articles. But the people pitching to me knows nothing of what they talk about. Every time we ask them more questions, they would fumble, right? And to be honest, I had a bad reputation in the industry that people were quite scared of me because I would ask very deep questions. I would pick up every phone call, even if I'm an intern. But very often, if they didn't know what you're talking about, I would say like, if you don't know your stuff, you really shouldn't call to pitch lah. The way I talk, I'm like this lah. Maybe I sound serious lah, but actually my intentions were noble and good lah, right? So I think those two factors, I thought that, maybe there's a better way to do this PR, right? And with my tech knowledge, I'm sure I can explain better than all these guys. Plus, while I still got a job in Straits Times, I can still do my tech. But my real love, Digital Life and all that, probably won't have a chance to grow to a next level lah. So I was 46 years old at the time lah, bro, not easy lah, but I took the plunge lah, okay, yeah, and just tried lah, really just try.
And you became very successful. I can see, I can really see. Yeah.
Not very successful lah. so
Uh,
okay lah, I was lucky, right? Yeah.
So I really like the way that you say, people are doing PR differently, or no, people are doing PR wrongly because it's supposed to focus on people, correct? So when you are an editor, right? So what are you actually looking for when somebody pitch to you? Is there something that you can share with us? Like maybe there are some listeners who are trying to pitch to some editor out there. Is there something that you can share? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So So the goal of PR and the goal of journalists actually is the same, right? PR, we are trying to, I always say that as PR consultant, we are salesmen, right? What we are selling actually is news, right? You have a set of facts. I mean, look, if now my house burn down and I die, everyone here die, 100% the news will cover one, correct or not? No need to say one, no need to do anything one. People will come flying helicopter to cover your news, right? But the truth is most news is 90% of the news is not like that. 90% of the news is sitting on the fence, sorry, right? So the client has a set of facts, whether it's a launch of a new product or the appointment of a new CEO or the company want to get money, it has a set of facts. So we have to package the set of facts into news. A lot of people don't understand actually what is news, right? News means uh, uh, an event or information about something that is of interest to general public. Okay, that's news, right? So the PR people's job is to make sure you package it and then you sell to the journalists. And sometimes the journalists got different interests, right? You don't sell like a L'Oreal makeup to a tech journalist, right? You don't sell a Logitech camera to a food blogger. So it is really a sales job, and you must know who your customer is. Your customer actually is not the guy paying you the money. Your customer actually are the journalists. So journalists obviously they look for. So what is the role of a journalist? The role of a journalist actually is to engage his readers. So when I was in Straits Times, of course, I look for stories that have an impact on the general Singaporean, right? Impact on the tech industry. Maybe it's like automation. Like robots are going to replace humans. So these kind of stories are things that is of relevance to the reader. Very often, the people on the other side, my side now, of the PR or the companies, they are trying to push the message. They are trying to push what they want to say. But what they want to say is not necessarily what the readers want to read, right? So really, if you take a step back, instead of trying to sell your product that you want to sell the product that the journalist wants to consume, right? I think you start thinking that way, then you will have better chances. And usually the question we always ask, so what? So usually they will say, right, oh, I got $1 million funding. Okay. The journalist then will ask you, so what? Okay? The so what means you must give context. If you are the first startup to get $1 million in the last 10 years, that's news. If every other day got people getting $1 million in funding, it's not news, right? So context is very important. In journalism, we have this old saying, dog bite man is not news. Man bite dog is news, right? So people have a set of facts. They must think of how can I explain these facts to the journalists to explain that the news that I have is significant and therefore you should run it. Yeah, I mean that is the simplest tip I can give in a very short space of time.
So does it mean that as a man on the street, normal entrepreneur, but in the tech scene, really have like not much chance to get on the news? Or is there a way that they or put on an angle or somewhere that it still can be newsworthy for these journalists?
Definitely can. There are a lot of entrepreneurs out there. Um, I mean, many entrepreneurs have come to me. Brands like Aftershock, Secret Lab, when they started, actually nobody knew them. I was one of the first person to write about them, right? And they just approached directly, right? So a lot of people have succeeded over the years. Even Garena, Forrest Lee now is famous. I mean, I was one of the first to write about him when he was a Garena, right? And these people, when they started, they are startups like me, right? Anybody can do it. So, and it's not difficult, right? You can just have to read the online website or read the newspaper to see who is the customer you want to sell your news to, right? I mean, if you are selling a tech product, then you must probably target hardware zone, right? Or geek culture, right? Or Irene, tech editor of Straits Times. You must find the correct customer and pitch a story that he or she would be interested in. Anybody can do it because the journalist, you see, you don't need complicated English to sell stories to the journalists. The journalists in Singapore are very down to earth people. They are like you and me. Just that maybe my language is a bit better because I trade in this. But when journalists talk to people on the street, they don't expect this. What they want to understand is, tell me what is your news about, and why is it significant in your own language, right? And the journalist's job is to write it in a way that is easy for his or her readers to read. So actually, if you have a bootstrap budget, you actually don't need to even hire a PR agency, but you got to know how to first connect to the journalist as a person, right? And then pitch your story, right? And pitch your story in a simple way. Don't use all those complicated, bombastic language. It's not. It's actually what is the facts and how you explain the facts.
So means today, if I want to get on the news, I can actually approach to media, write an email to the journalist. Of
Yes.
course, I have got to put in some points that are
Yes.
newsworthy.
Yes.
It will still work.
You have to try. Yeah, I'm not saying you have to work. You have to try.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't need to buy GCB lah.
That one bad news lah. Everybody know
Bad
you got
news?
Everybody
yeah,
know.
yeah, you're right.
Everybody know you got GCB is no good.
You're right. But recently, a lot of those went into the news because of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, you know why, right? Because there are three things that always has interest. It's always news. It's called sex, tragedy, and money. Sex, money, and tragedy. And tragedy, yeah, always sells. Right? Always sells.
Yeah, but the first two is not that good lah, right?
Money is good lah.
I mean, how to say, if I'm in the news because of sex or tragedy, what is sad lah. Entrepreneur, we don't want. We want to, have
So
something
money,
that,
right? Like a local entrepreneur. So money is not about money. It can also be career success, right? Like table tennis, we win gold. It's not money. Actually, it's success, right? Local people succeed in something is good. Like Secret Lab, right? They sell so many chairs. All that is success. So very often we get some clients that come to us say, "Wow, Jin, well, I want to be in TechCrunch. I want to be in US publications, blah blah blah." I say, "Yeah, can you be in Singapore news first? Because nobody knows you in Singapore. TechCrunch and your CNET not interested in you, right? If your own country don't write about you, because the media that will be most interested in a local story is your local media, right? Like your Indonesian media will write about the Indonesian entrepreneurs. Our Singapore media will write about our Singapore entrepreneurs. It's only when you reach a scale of Razer or Secret Lab, OSIM, that kind of scale, then only overseas media will start paying attention to you, right?
So, like, for example, now that you say local, in terms of tech scene, it seems like it has been diminishing already. There isn't really like a tech kind of media. Yeah. Because, of course, our beloved Digital Life is gone. So, where can we turn to right now?
Well, thankfully, I think there's a lot of smaller media that have appeared, right? Otherwise, I would be out of business a long time ago already.
Yeah, that's where we really need to, learn from you. Where can we look for them?
So there are a lot. I mean, you can use Google search, right? I mean, for example, if you're selling a X Mini speaker, all right, or you're selling speakers, you can search, right? Who writes about Bose or who writes about Jabra, right? You can do a Google search. Look for the brands that probably is doing good PR, and you will appear. Okay. Now the problem, however, is Google will only organically show the websites that are labeled as Google News sites. So if your website is not Google News site, you type in, let's say, Jabra something, right? It won't appear. Okay. So you just gotta go talk to people, read up. Your mainstream news actually is still number one, right? Straits Times, CNA, these guys, right? But unfortunately, they don't really write a lot about the tech products like I used to when it was at Digital Life, right? I mean, if you are in the tech game, there is still Hardware Zone. They're still pretty strong. Geek Culture is been around, I think, 6-7 years, and they're doing pretty okay. Yahoo writes about tech. Asia One writes about tech. There are actually about, okay, like for example, when we have a press conference and we invite the media to come, we can get about 15 to 20 people to turn up from different media, okay, big and small. So while there isn't a DL anymore, right, there is still a few medium big ones, right? Zhao Bao still has a tech page, right? My friend Marcus is still there. And there's a lot of these small people that didn't exist before, right? Last time we call them bloggers, lah, right? Now they are all sites. Lah. I mean, David, I'm sure you host a lot of sites, right? They can just use your WordPress system and they start their own website. There is no barriers to entry, and to be honest, when I started this business, I didn't know any of these guys, because we're in the Straits Times. You think that the world revolves around you, right? Then when you start doing PR, you realize actually there's a lot of bloggers, small players out there, and together as a group, right? If you can tell a client, hey, look, you pay me this amount of money, you launch a product, you can get 18, 20 articles. Why not, right? So there is still meaningful work to be done, lah, right? And whether the guy is from Straits Times, Highway Zone, or he's a blogger, it's the same. We treat anybody who will take an article without asking for payment as media. Okay? People who ask for payment, we call them influencers.
Okay. So
that's
it's
how we
only
do
when without payment,
Yes.
then that is really journaling.
We treat them as media, lah. Okay? We treat them as media. Okay? I mean, it's not like a legal practice or a medical practice where you have a licensing authority that chop say you're a lawyer, chop say you're a doctor, right? Anybody can be a reporter, anybody can be media, right? In fact, the definition these days is changing. Anybody can start a website now and be a media, right? Or we call it media, lah, right? Anybody can start a live stream and call themselves a KOL, right? It's all possible, right? So the game has changed in a way, but the principles remain the same. The principles remain that we have to build relationship with the media, okay? And we have to give them stories that is meaningful for them and is of significance to them, so they will write about it, okay? Unless you want to go and buy advertorials, which is a different game. We do help our clients with that, but that is not the primary business, right? Because once you move to editorials, you're talking about marketing already. We are dealing with the part of the business that generally you cannot pay for coverage, right? An old man like me, it's a skill that I think has an advantage, lah. If you ask me to go and do digital marketing, I mean, how do you fight against the army of young 20-something people that knows social media and digital marketing and Facebook ad buy at the back of the hand, right? And in a way also, I'm lucky because not many people want to do what I do, because what we do is very difficult, right? Is getting the journalists, and this media, new ones come in, old ones leave. You got to track where they go, right? And you got to do that.
I think you're very right.
Yeah, one more tip for your listeners. There's actually a subscription service that they can pay for, lah. Okay, it's called Telum, TELUM. So TELUM is actually an organization that actually has a journalist database. So anybody who's an entrepreneur can go there, get the email database of journalists. You can search lah, tag journalists in Singapore, he'll come up the list for you, and you can then email them directly. But you have to pay for that database. Yeah.
Okay, but you're right. Okay, before we talk about Telum, okay, that one we bookmark a bit. But you're right. For your experience, I think the thing is how many editor, right, and PR people are there. I mean, having a person who has two experience of both sides, I think is very hard to find. And I think you are the only one, bro. Are there any? I think there's any.
I think there are a few. So like my ex-colleague Sherwin, now he's doing PR at Lazada, right? David Cheng, who used to be the Hardware Zone editor, is at another agency called Inform. I think there are a few. But I think I might be the only one who is running my own business, lah.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the interesting point, bro. Because you see, journalists and PR people are very different. Journalists is a bit like we are searching for the truth, right? We want to tell people the truth. That is our DNA. Our DNA is not to go and saka people and all that, right? It's actually to tell the truth, right? And PR people actually, it comes with a bad name, It's like PR itself is the bad word, sometimes, right? They are used to making their stakeholders happy. Their primary goal is make CEO happy, make CMO happy, right? And protect them, right? So it is to manage the information. The journalist wants to discover the real information. So
Behind
that's
the
why
scenes.
the practice of PR is very important, that we don't be dishonest to the media, right?
Mm,
If people think that PR is spin doctors, spin doctor PR won't survive one, because once the media don't trust you, they won't talk to you anymore, right?
mm.
So when we want to do this business as PR, we must build trust. And whenever we talk to a media and say, hey, I got interesting client, it better be interesting, because if everybody you say is interesting, then right? Yeah.
So talking about this, in the industry, right, whether you're at the editor or whether you're the journalist or you're the PR side of things, are there any like dark secrets that you can share with us or not?
Dark secrets.
Like there are some like I don't know, under table stuff and things like that. Does it really happen? Okay, maybe in Singapore there isn't, but how about places that you have been to before? Have you heard of such cases?
Okay, I can tell you this lah. I don't know whether it's a dark secret lah, but in the days when I was a journalist, uh, generally we cannot take stuff lah, right? Yeah. But nowadays, actually, even for many many years, the press conferences got lucky draw one. So
Okay.
so you lucky draw, then more people will come lah. I guess it's not taking lah, right? It's lucky draw. It's a fair giveaway to
Okay,
everybody.
I mean you can say that it's a way to attract more journalists to come.
Yeah.
Like you buy food, you have buffet
Yeah.
spread, you go to Shangri-La.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
That's fair, that's fair.
traditionally, when I was Straits Times, we are not supposed to, even these things we're not supposed to keep, right?
Okay,
Yeah, you
so
want
what
to
do you do when somebody approach you with all these goodies?
last time.
Anyone or not? Anyone approach you and then say, hey, I'm going to give you this, that is really off the line one.
So there are two ways about it lah. Sometimes okay, this is when I was a journalist, right? So you can't take, right? So there are two ways. If you really like the product, you say, can I purchase it from you at a discount? Okay, I don't want to take it, but I like it. Can I buy at a discount? Right? The other thing you can do is, can I do a long-term loan? Because like, okay, for example, we used to review like Xbox and PlayStation games, right? You cannot expect my team to go and buy 3 Xbox and 3 PlayStation and play home to review the games, right? So we will tell these people, can you give us long-term loans, right? But it's not that we are greedy; is we need this thing to test the games over many years, lah. So that's how we would justify it. A lot of reporters, they do all the iPhone, all that kind of phone, right? So every year
YouTuber nowadays.
every
YouTuber.
year change phone, no, right? You technically never take the phone, as long-term loan. So it's a bit gray, lah, right? But I don't think it's a dark secret. I don't think it's a big deal actually. Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, with the environment right now, like YouTubers and influencers, they all get all these perks, and even for traveling, they get to travel all over the world just because they are able to cover that news for that company.
yes. So last
Yeah.
time, only if you are a journalist, you will get this type of opportunity, lah. But like I said, the barriers of entry today doesn't exist anymore. Once you have the reach, whether you are on the website or you are Instagram or your YouTube, people will be nice to you and take care of you, so that you will write good stuff for them, and people will read lah. Yeah.
But again, I think even though you say it's like low barrier of entry, it is
Mm.
still a matter of trust. Yeah. I think
Yes.
that trust will be difficult to build. I mean, if I'm like a new
Yeah.
YouTuber, I come out and tell people about this product is good. I think
Yeah.
people will not believe me. They will give me like, some time to prove myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But however, for you, Jin, you are really like, wow, I don't know, 50 years of experience.
Don't have lah. I'm 52 this year, so don't have 50 years experience.
Just kidding, just
Let
kidding.
me see. Yeah, 20 over years.
20 years of experience, wow, amazing. Really
Yeah.
amazing. Plus a lot of all those relationships that you have, really amazing, yeah. Well, I mean, we have come 30 minutes already, okay, for this interview. Okay, so, I mean, you have been really generous with your time, and I really want to thank you. But to end this session, okay, we have many startup founders. Most of them, they are not tech, right? And of course, there are some who are tech, okay, and also hungry entrepreneurs, okay, here listening to you, right? In fact, right now, we have a few people already listening to you right now, live. Okay, do you have like any piece of advice that you can advise entrepreneurs listening to you, right? If you have, what are the 3 advice that you can give them, whether as an entrepreneur or as a maybe a PR agency, or I mean, if somebody looking for PR, Anything that you can share with us?
So I think as a business owner, right, I feel that the most important asset actually are your people. Okay, I wanted to really build I mean, I don't need to make $1 billion, right? I just want to build a sustainable business, And anytime I got 5 to 6 staff plus myself, and my goal was really just to build a small business. I can earn money, right? Decent money. People can grow with the company. But it was really hard to keep people. And I don't think I'm a nasty person, right? And that is the challenge, actually manpower, really. First, how do you keep them and attract them um, and make them stay for long, right? It's very hard to find people that, my mother also used to be an entrepreneur. I can see that she had staff that worked for her 20, 30 years. And she was a very fierce person, always scolding her staff. But they worked for her 20, 30 years, and it's so hard for me to achieve that. Most of my
Because you
people,
don't scold them, is it?
I think maybe that's why. Yeah. So you see, I'm providing a service. Okay. It's no different from a hairdresser or a lawyer or a doctor. People come to Blue because they expect Jean to help them with their PR, right? The problem with the service business versus a goods business is you cannot scale unless you got other people that can help you, right? And trying to find people in the PR industry that can have all the different prerequisites to do the job actually is very, very difficult, right? PR people need to be one, very structured and organized. Okay. Two, must have good people skills. Three, must be good communicators. You cannot find this automatically in a journalist or in a PR executive. You actually need someone that is good in both. I don't have all these traits, right? I'm good with the thinking, the strategy, and the relationships, but I'm really bad with the organizing. So I have a general manager that helps me with these things, right? So I think I would say my learning, I won't say my advice to entrepreneurs. One, look for people that can complement the skill set that you don't. I think it's really important. Okay. Two, try not to hire family. I think family is very hard. Okay. People don't like to work for you if you have family members around. Okay, because they always feel that you may not be fair. And I had a bit of experience with this. I had a niece working for me for a while, and even though she was the lowest paid employee, there were issues with other employees thinking that I'm being unfair and all that. So I actually don't hire family, and when I hire friends, I'm very, very careful, right? I think it's always better to go outside and hire from the market. Friends can help you, maybe like 3 months you bonang, nobody, right? You call your friend, hey, can you help me? I think that is okay. But higher long term, I think you have to think carefully. Yeah. So I think, to me, if you ask me what is the challenge, is the people. Getting business actually is not that difficult. It's keeping the customer that is difficult, and keeping the people that is difficult.
So these two are really human. It's really relationship. I think you are really like a relationship, I don't know, expert, right? But
No
by
lah,
then,
I'm not
because
lah.
you're journalist, because you need to really manage. I mean, as a PR, you really need to manage the relationship. And now you're like managing three groups, right? Three groups: your customers, your staff, and then also the journalists.
A lot
So
of relationships, a lot. Yeah.
a lot, and that really takes a lot of time and coffee time, especially
Yes.
coffee. So you drink a lot of coffee, I guess.
Uh, not that much. Not that much. Not that much. I do.
Not that much.
One
Okay.
cup a day, maybe.
What? 3 cups a day?
One.
Oh, once a day. That's
Yeah,
that's quite normal. That's quite normal.
yeah.
Okay, so just one last question, bro. One last one. Okay, if you have a chance, would you do whatever that you have done all over again, or would you do something else?
Oh, okay. I never think like that. Yeah. A lot of people say I want to reset my life. I never look back. Right. I believe that, first of all, I never had a big plan for myself. Right. But I believe that I am somebody that is able to jump in the deep end and learn something new. For all you know, after 2 3 years, I may just give it up and do something else. I wouldn't say it's impossible, knowing myself, right? And because I don't, people like me who don't think through, you just have a rough idea and you jump in. I think that's what makes us entrepreneurs, lah, right? If you really got a plan and you got funding, actually you're not an entrepreneur, right? Probably back you and you got real money to to push, lah, right? Right? You also entrepreneur, you know that usually it starts with an idea and then you build on the idea. okay, and then you learn and you adapt. I think those are usually successful entrepreneurs lah. You know, I am only okay only. You know, I'm nowhere near people making a lot of money.
You're
Not at
just
all.
too humble, bro.
No lah, I'm not. I really am not. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I mean, really thank you for this time. Yeah, and whoever that's listening to us, whether it's recorded or not recorded right now, okay, we are gonna put whatever. I mean, is it okay if I put your profile
Yeah,
in this?
sure, sure. Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
and so that
Sure.
they can contact you if there's
Yeah,
any questions.
just don't give my address, can already.
Yeah, yeah.
You can give them my like email, that no problem. I'm happy to like if they got questions, you know, I'm happy to help if I can.
Yeah, especially in the area of PR,
Yes,
which
yes.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs are struggling. They do not know how to position themselves, how to write the story for themselves, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
right to
Yeah.
pitch to the journalists. Yeah. Okay, so I hope every one of us, every one of you have have been learning something. Okay, if you have learned something, do key into the comment box. Okay, so that we can at least know that wow, we have learned something through this session. And really, I look forward for more interaction. Okay, with you guys. Okay, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.